Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Live with Roger Hanson. Today, I am going to be doing our topic on Tech Talk. Uh, this is going to be a good one, too, because hopefully we'll get Tan in here. I believe he just came into the room. I'm not sure.
No, I just came in the room. I
Oh,
told
he
you I could
did.
come for a bit. No, it's
Oh.
me.
Well, we're trying to get Tan into the room so that we can give him the proper whooping he deserves.
Oh boy, what he done did now?
We're going to discuss with him the cloud versus uh freaking freaking servers. Cloud
Okay.
com- cloud can today we're going to go over um well, we're gonna finish up on content management systems first, and then we're gonna talk about cloud computing services. Finish up on that because it kind of gave me a headache the last time I was reading it. And after we do that, we're gonna discuss the differences between using a server versus a cloud computing service for a content management system. Now, after that, I want to get into what they've been popularly referring to as alt tech platforms, which is like Odyssey, and it's like Rumble and BitChute and platforms like that. So, we'll be discussing the SEC versus library lawsuit, and then discuss Rumble and what they're going through concerning the UK. And like I said in my post, if these discussions aren't covered today all together, we'll follow up with them later on. So they're not going to go away. You know what I mean? We'll come back to it and do it again. It's just that's kind of the direction that I want to go with this because I think that it's pretty cool. It's something that
What? I was just tuning in to listen, so I'm not even really going to comment. I just would like
oh,
to
it
get you
is
to
fine. You
show
just
my
made it
support and stuff.
easier for me to put my introduction into play. I mean, so and Tan Tan said he'd show up, but I have yet to see him show up yet. So let me see if he says anything in the comment section. If he doesn't, I'm gonna call him a chicken. He's just sitting there too. He's seen the post. He's just sitting. I bet you he's on there watching. So
I think he's still off work after but
yeah, he said that he gets. Well, I don't know. It's 5 o'clock here.
maybe.
It's 6 o'clock with him. Now this would be different if it was in the morning, like at 12 o'clock, like it was before. But I should probably tag him because he's fussy. He's fussy like that. Okay. Now.
Is he coming now? Oh, I thought he was letting know.
No, he's not coming yet. He's a. Now let me just go ahead and get on with the topic. Oh, I ain't gonna wait on him. Okay, so let me read this to you, and then we'll be done with the reading, and you guys can say whatever you want during the time and have me stop, okay? If you want me to. But this is content management system according to this article. Content Management System, CMS, is a computer software used to manage the creation and modification of digital content, which means digital or content management. Okay. A CMS is typically used for enterprise content management, ECM, and web content management, WCM. ECM typically supports multiple users in a collaborative environment by integrating document management, digital asset management, and record retention. Alternatively, WCM is the collaboration authoring for websites and may include text and embed graphics, photos, videos, audio, maps, and program code that display content and interact with the user. ECM typically includes a WCM function. Now it goes, a CMS typically has two major components: a content management application, CMA, as the front-end user interface that allows a user, even with limited expertise, to add, modify, and remove content from a website without the intervention of a webmaster. Oh my God, was that Tan? What the heck was that?
Your guess is as good as mine. I thought you did something.
That was crazy. Wow. Okay. Okay. Limited expertise, the webmaster, and a content delivery application, CDA, that compiles the content and updates the website. Now, installation type. There are two types of CMS installation, and this is the part for Tan, okay? On-premises and cloud-based. On-premises installation means that the CMS software can be installed on the server. This approach is usually taken by businesses that want flexibility in their setup, notably CMSs which can be installed on premises are WordPress.org, Drupal, Jomia, Grav, ModX, and others. The cloud-based CMS is hosted on the vendor environment. With this approach, the CMS software cannot be modified by the customer. Examples of notable cloud-based CMS are Squarespace, Contentful, WordPress.com, Webflow, Ghost, and Wix. And then they come down here and they have what is it? The CMS features are, and then they have the index, the retrieval, the format management, revision control, and management. And then features, they talk about that with intuitive indexing, search, and retrieval features, things of that nature. And then they have other types of content management systems. There's digital asset management systems are another type of CMS. They manage content with clearly defined author and ownership, such as documents, movies, pictures, phone numbers, and scientific data. Companies also use CMSs to store, control, revise, and publish documentation. There is also component content management systems, which is CCMS, which are CCMSs that manage content at a module level rather than as pages or articles. CCMSs are often used in technical communication where many publications reuse the same content. And then the widely used CMS is based on a survey. The most widely used content management system is WordPress, used by 42.8% of the top 10 million websites as of October 2021. Although, per definition, it is a blog system website generator, not a fully fledged content management system. Followed by Spotify and Jumia, or Shopify. Shopify. I never even heard of those two. So,
It's a store site. Shopify is a place to where you can sell online product, and you kind of usually go to like Alibaba and something else, Dropshare, and they you upload their stuff and you kind of sell it for whatever price you'd like to sell it for. In the Shopify. Well, I had a Shopify store.
Shopify. Can you guys hear me okay?
yes.
My mic go?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, everyone.
Now,
Shopify is it's like a storefront where if you have a business, when you create your own website and create your own with your own store, they have the framework in there for you to build that quickly.
that's pretty cool. Now, I've dealt
So
with
it's-
e-commerce.
Yeah, it's like an e-commerce website hosting site.
Cool. So, I read that last part for content management systems, and we're talking about infrastructures, and that was the one that Mark mentioned yesterday that these websites are set up on, basically. So I'm gonna open it up and let Mark say something because he's the one that brought it up.
Content management systems per se. Well, there's two types. There's the content management systems where you can just create anything you want using products like Joomla, Drupal, and WordPress. Interestingly enough, I spent approximately 7 years in 2000 to 2007 creating content management systems and mainly e-commerce systems using Joomla for various clients. I must have created about, I don't know, I reckon about 8 separate projects for various clients, just using Joomla and mainly for the purpose of e-commerce. All steps, I want to say self-hosted, hosted on hosting providers, servers, but and the majority of them were being the e-commerce side was actually being managed by the companies themselves rather than a third party. So rather than using eBay or Shopify, the companies themselves would be managing all the payments systems and delivery systems. As far as general content management systems are concerned, you could consider that any social media platform these days is a content management system in the form of end users being able to publish content on a social media platform, so mine, so Facebook or Twitter, and being able to upload and publish their own videos and images on those platforms. So yeah, social media platforms per se are content management systems.
I like how they broke it down too, to where they were even mentioned CCMs. You know, CCM. What was it? I just read it too. CCMS.
More modular sort of processes. So you might have a overarching content management system, and you may have separate modules within that, in which you've got various users being able to use those modules to publish content.
Okay. Now, this is where I wanted to kind of go over what we were talking about earlier when it comes to the rivalry with Tan in the cloud. Okay, so
I'm in the cloud.
In the cloud. So,
My
did
head's
I
in the cloud.
get rid of that article that I was just reading or something? Yeah, on the part that it was mentioning, they were bringing references to content management. They were bringing up the part where it says here that there are two separate type of installations: the cloud-based CMS, which is hosted on a vendor environment. Now, with this approach, the CMS software cannot be modified by the customer. Now, on the other hand, the other one, there are two examples, which one is the cloud-based, and the other one is the on-premises. On-premises installation, that means that the CMS software can be installed on the server, and this approach is usually taken by businessmen that want flexibility in their setup. And notable CMSs which can be installed on premises are WordPress.org, and I noticed they have a difference between WordPress.org and WordPress.com, and then Drupal, and then Joma.
Yeah. Joomla.
and- Yeah,
Joomla, yeah.
how do you say that again? Joomla?
Joomla.
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 Yeah.
Then Grab and ModX. Now, what do you guys? And then down here on the cloud one, I noticed Wix. I do know Wix and I do know Squarespace. So, like,
Right.
in the functionality though, when it comes to the flexibility and everything, I noticed that you have more flexibility in your setup if you go with the on-premise installation rather than the cloud. So what are your
Personally, I don't like the term cloud because I consider it just to be a marketing term. In reality, what it means is that either you've got control over the deployment of the software or the platform, or a third party's got the control over that, and you're just a user of that third party host.
now
That makes sense.
before we had conversations about the Minds Pro, and we were talking about websites. Now, would that fall more in line with that category when it comes to CMSs?
Yeah, that would be, as you define it, cloud-based, because that's being controlled by Mindtech. And as a user, you are purchasing an access to that service,
Okay, so that
rather than you taking full control over that service.
all right. That's kind of what caught my mind, and I wanted to kind of get a clearer look at that. You know what I mean? Because, well, not even.
So
Oh, go
So,
ahead.
so in the case of Minds, we using Minds Pro subscription hosted by Minds Inc. is the cloud solution. But we can take their source code, build it, and host it on our own server. That's our own, what do you call it? On-premise
Yeah.
installation of mine, and run our own, like rogerhansen.com. That could be running an instance of mine, right?
Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
how does that work?
That would work.
And in-
But I'm wondering if anybody has done that in the history of mine. It's totally possible. But
I know Minds Gaming did test this out, and I did have a look at it in the early stages back in 2018, 2019.
you did?
Minds Gaming.
You
Oh, that's gonna be
couldn't you couldn't get away
I-
from Minds Gaming back then.
I-
I mean, he was.
I'd
everywhere.
imagine if you run it on your own server, you would have very limited functionalities because of the crypto stuff, the crypto integration that you do not have. Right?
Theory, it's all there. It's just a matter of linking it into various.
Well, yeah, it's all there,
infrastructure.
but you have to have partner relationships with those providers, right? You have to subscribe to them. You have to get an API key from them so that you can integrate your Mind instance with them. So it would cost a lot if you want to run your own Minds instance.
And obviously, depending on which country you're doing it from, you could land up with a lot of legal issues as well.
Yeah.
Crypto tokens, the entire crypto ecosystem, regulatory system.
Now, give me a moment. I will be right back. I want you guys to talk that over too, because that's a good thing that you.
If I remember rightly, and I'm just trying to look forward to there was, if not there is, something in the terms of service, in Mind's terms of service, saying that you cannot replicate services unless it falls under the AGPL license. So, in theory, you wouldn't be able to replicate Minds Pro.
Right.
In theory.
Mm-hmm.
Probably it's more of a legal issue rather than a technical issue.
What license is Minds in? Mark?
AGPL and MIT.
MIT, right? Oh, why both?
Because some of the original source code was AGPL and some of the original source code that they thought was MIT or is MIT. And of course you can't, once you are forking code, you can't really change the license agreements in most cases.
You see the license file right up of the code repo is AGPL.
Yeah. But there are a few things with the MIT and possibly Apache license as well.
Yeah.
MIT and Apache.
Alright, I'm back. I had to go see a man about a horse.
Wasn't that one of the selling points of Minds, though, that because it is open source, you can just take it and roll your own instance?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. As long as you keep the original licenses and keep the original sort of license comments within the code.
Mm-hmm. In practice, do we know of anybody who has done that commercially?
I remember back in, I think, 2020, there was a charity, somebody that was in control of some charity thinking about doing this, but at the time, myself and a few other people advised that it was not in the most, it would not have been that practical because of all various issues.
Like legal issues or technical?
Technical. In fact, I think on the developer's side, the developer or documentation docmines.com.
Okay.
It states this software is not shouldn't be used for production use.
Seriously?
Man, we're in trouble.
Actually, one is like a pain though, but it did for a long time. Well, have to check.
So
On stock.
I have some distressing news here. In the challenge, it seems that Tan has turned the tide with a sucker punch, like frickin'
What?
when Muhammad Ali knocked out dude with his frickin' pinky.
What are you talking about, man?
So Tan's taking the lead.
How are you keeping score anyway?
I'm
Jeez,
trying
bogus.
not to. I'm trying not to, but it sounds like to me that there
Sounds
are
fishy to me.
advantages
Sorry,
and
I
disadvantages.
I just found it. In the developerstockmines.com site, there's a statement saying, at this time, it is not advisable to run mines in production. However, it is possible so long as you are aware of the risks.
When was that?
So, yeah.
What is that, though?
See if I can give you a screen share. I can do on there.
Send a link to Roger's chat room.
Yeah, I can do it right there in that chat on the side. I can put it in mine if you want me to.
Hang on.
Alright.
Yeah, I've stuck in the sidebar chat.
It's pretty cool. Alright.
And it's near the bottom of the page.
Yeah, I know. I have to figure out where it is. Okay.
Which section?
Installation. Is that it? Developer is mine.
At the bottom, he said.
Yeah, there's a big heading saying production system requirements.
Wait, yeah, I've got it. I'm looking right at it.
All right, good.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's get that on there. There we go.
Yeah, because you need to deploy this Kubernetes nodes. You have to have this Kubernetes infrastructure to be able to deploy it in.
If you want to, I can read this off. It's up to you guys.
I've just read it. It's just that's one line at the bottom.
9 at the bottom.
Yeah, there's a heading production system requirements.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Right here. No. The production system requirements. At this time, it is not available. 3 Cassandra nodes, minimum 30 gigabytes RAM, 1 terabyte SSD, and 8 CPU. So, 1 Elasticsearch node. Now, what's an Elasticsearch node?
It's a search engine, just like like Google. It's made by Apache, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Number 2 nodes are recommended for failover. And then 1 Docker machine.
I thought they stopped using Docker. I think this documentation's a bit out of date because I'm pretty sure that they've been migrating from Cassandra to
Oracle.
something else, and I think they've also stopped using Docker as well. I'm not absolutely sure on that one.
Well, either one of you guys want to explain a little bit for everybody what a Docker machine is?
Docker.
Docker. It's
So let me give a crack, Mark, and then you can go. Because you usually top up the stuff with your full details. So virtual machines. You were talking about virtual machines before, Roger, right?
Right.
So you have VMs there where you have a full OS environment inside that VM to install or do whatever you want on the OS. It's basically a full OS. Okay.
Okay.
Then we have this technology called similar to virtualization. It's called containerization, and that's what Docker or Kubernetes and these other technologies is. It's like a scaled down VM, except it doesn't have the full OS. It's running on the host operating system, but it's isolated from the operating system, so that it just has enough up the machine resources to do its stuff. So it's inside its own the container. It's inside a container on the physical machines, which is like a mini virtual machine that it does its stuff, but it's not a real virtual machine. It's called a container.
Okay. So.
As
As
an example, rather than having let's say you want to deploy a website, so Joomla or WordPress website. So rather than having an entire operating system within a virtual machine, you've got a small container containing the database framework, the web host framework, and the actual Joomla or WordPress framework itself, and that's it.
So that would basically, that's kind of sounding like what we were talking about last week was, remember me talking about VirtualBox?
Yeah, VirtualBox is a virtual machine.
Okay.
But Docker is like it's not a virtual machine container, or it's not a virtual machine thing. It's a container provider.
Okay.
And it runs like a service on the operating system, and it manages different containers that are all isolated in its own. Like if you create a Docker container and you put mines on it, mines will run on its own environment, and it won't know anything about the operating system that it's running on. Similar to a virtual machine, right? That's what a virtual machine is. But the Docker, the container, it has very small payload, very small memory footprint. It doesn't take as much resource as a full virtual machine does. It's very lightweight, and that's the benefit of the Docker.
Another example of a container is you might have heard of Flatpak and Snap, where you've got individual end user applications in their own containers that are separated from the rest of the operating system. So you might run Chrome or Firefox in its own container that it hasn't got any access to any of the other parts of the operating system.
Okay. So, this is where it all gets pretty interesting right here. So, now let me go through what you wrote in your Mind's computing or cloud computing service blog, okay? And we'll go from
Mark
here.
wrote a blog. Let's put it up on
Oh, you want to see it?
put it up on the stream.
Give them a fighting chance.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, let me.
Oh, I see. You have it on the stream. It's just not on Jitsi. Okay.
Yeah. I wanted to give you guys the spotlight because you're the stars of the show. But
No, you're the star.
no, I'm just the host. You're the announcer, and now you're the expert.
Wait, I'm not the announcer, man.
Oh wait,
I
yeah,
only
that's for just
yeah, it's for a round table.
yeah, for the round table. You're the cool guy then, dude, that knows what you're talking about. Is that better? Yeah.
That's like a pitchfork right there, man.
All right, let me find this document. I just had it. Okay, cloud must be one of the most overused words within computing and society. Today, people expect to read their emails using online mail services, i.e., Gmail, Hotmail, and Yahoo. Share their files and documents using Google Drive or Dropbox. Chat and share ideas whilst using Twitter, Facebook, and Minds. Create documents using Google Docs, Microsoft Office 365, or Zoho Docs, or Zoho, however it's pronounced. And communicating with other via face-to-face video calls using services like Skype and Google Hangouts. Most users consider cloud computing as being a collection of online services that can be accessed using a web browser or other client applications. However, cloud computing is a misunderstood and overly misused term. In essence, the cloud computing concept is a concept that is made up of a variety of layered elements or tiers. Whilst there is a number of tiers, there are three fundamental tiers that are differentiated by the level of abstraction that is presented to the user, developer, and administrator. Each of these tiers, often referring using the suffix as a server, provides separate elements to the overall architecture of cloud-based services.
You gotta zoom up on the on your browser. Your viewers can't read. It's all blur. There, better.
You got it? Did it actually?
That was better.
No, that right there. Oh, you're talking about my browser. Okay.
Yeah, your browser. Yeah,
Okay.
you're reading us. Okay, so you just zoomed up, right?
No, I didn't. Sorry.
Seems better now.
That's because I forgot what
Oh, I see. Okay, now this one's really. You know how to zoom on the Chrome, right?
Well, yeah, I can't.
There's a plus. Yeah.
I know. I just really don't like doing it.
Yeah, I know. But for if you're reading through stuff and you want your viewers to pop, there, much better. And then you
Okay.
can reset it when you're done.
See, that's the part that sucks.
That sucks from your side. It's
Resetting it. Okay.
It's one click.
Well, I forget sometimes. Okay, so infrastructure as a service. Wait, let me make sure.
Wait, so do we? Well, let's talk a little bit more about that cloud thing, just to make sure we're clear, right? Because Mark's
Okay.
saying that it might be a marketing or it might be a misleading term, but the whole thing is that, remember, if you were like, let's just think about your photos that you take on your camera. Before cloud computing, you would just take pictures on your camera, and you take it home and you transfer it to your computer, right? And you save it on your local storage, right? So that's an on-premise hosting right there, in a simplistic term. But now we have cloud solution, and so all my pictures are not saved permanently on my local computers anymore because I don't have enough space on there. I offload it to the cloud, somewhere on the cloud, the computing cloud, that are holding on to those pictures. I don't know where. It is, but I don't care. So long as I can just go to the browser, go to that to their site, and access it.
Question for you, Dan. You call it a cloud. I just call it a host.
What do you call
would
it?
you have called let's say 10 years ago, would you have called an FTP server a cloud service?
Yeah, I guess. But an FTP server would be hosting on my company's, or be hosting on my basement server somewhere. So that wouldn't be a cloud service. But I can access.
If let's say you bought third party hosting from a
Right. Okay, let's say I'm accessing. Yeah, but you see, an FTP server is somebody hosting files for me to access. It's like a university network. Has a note on the internet.
Web service provide commercial web hosts provide commercial FTP access.
Yeah, for all we care, this cloud service that's hosting the photos that I have could be they could be underneath the cover hosting it on an FTP somewhere. some Weasley sleight of hands trick. They're calling it a cloud, but they are in fact hosting it on a secured FTP server.
No, let me add something in here. Last week, okay, I actually tried to freaking do the challenge of reading the information for cloud service, and by the time I was done, my freaking head hurt. I didn't want to do it no more. And all the stuff I read described to me how the cloud is nothing more than a really, really cool freaking server. Nothing more.
Cool marketing. It's a cool marketing term. Mark's right.
There is no freaking invisible cloud where freaking everything disappears into it. That's you look at some network diagram, you see, stuff sitting on a cloud. They have a cloud shape picture representing stuff that is stored off-site. It's basically off-site storage.
Yeah, I remember learning network typologies back 30 odd years ago, and we were still using images of clouds to demonstrate off-site.
Yeah, maybe that's where they get the cloud terminology from.
Now, all I gotta ask is another important question. Now, you know all those cool sci-fi movies where they show the freaking robotic arm pulling out the hard drives and then moving to another area and putting the hard drive in, and is that a cloud? Is that what the cloud service is? Are there,
you're still confused about the cloud service.
And programmers have to sit back there and make sure that the robotic arm moves to the right location and pull the freaking hard drive out and put it in another
days,
spot.
you don't have to pull out anything. Data can be transferred from one drive to another drive without...
Oh, I see. You're talking about the man behind the curtain running the cloud service?
Yeah.
I see. Yeah, Mark's right. These days they have all virtual. They call it infrastructure by code or something, or code as infrastructure as code.
So you don't need
so they
programmers.
They have script that spins up virtual machines. They have like drives. I guess so. The script could those all hidden inside.
If you purchase a contract with a virtual private server host, all they will do is they just press a few buttons and a script will just create a host for you, depending on your requirements, and a couple minutes later you'll have a host for your purposes.
Right on. So my big question is so programmers aren't needed for this, right? Like
programmers are needed to set it up, or administrators are needed to set it up, rather than programmers per se.
That's what I mean by infrastructure as code. The programmers have built this infrastructure already, so that network administrator, somebody on the service provider, and they would just touch a couple of buttons and they'll spin up a server for you.
So that
it's all automated.
So there ain't gonna be literally no robotic
There's
arm.
no robot running or moving your hardwares around, man. They're probably running. I wonder, if the Amazons have robots moving their storage servers or adding new drives, but
now it's mainly people, system administrators actually, or engineers actually sticking drives in and sticking servers in when
it's you never know, like Amazon have started researching the technology to have drone delivery drones to deliver the packages, right? So they could have something in there automating their hardware movement.
Not on a sort of commercial scale at the moment. I'm aware of at least one server administrator for Amazon, and it's all done manually. Or manually, as in the deployment of the hardware.
Okay, so there's another important thing that is mentioned that Mark says here, and I'm gonna read a little bit of it because I don't want to get too much into these this stuff he's talking about, like descriptions and stuff, but there's cool stuff that he does mention. So I'm gonna read this to you. Okay, the usage of the word cloud is a fairly recent term that was first used to represent network computing in 1993 when General Magic, a company that started as a project which was backed by Apple Inc. and AT&T, used this term to describe their telescript and personal link technologies. Back in April 1994, Wired magazine featured an article entitled Bill and Andy's Excellent Adventure, in which Andy Hertzfeld, a member of the original Apple Macintosh design team, a primary software developer for the Macintosh operating system, provided the following comment. The beauties of Telescript is that now, instead of just having a device to program, we now have the entire cloud out there, where a single program can go and travel to many different sources of information and create sort of a virtual service. No one had conceived that before. And then Mark goes on to say, however, I partially disagree with the above statement and consider cloud computing as an evolutionary step in what was already a growing market. Since the early interpretation of multi-user computer workstations, many online distributed services were providing a mainframe and network computing infrastructures. Right there, what I was talking about with infrastructures. Many users were using these infrastructures to access emails and communications with others, as well as to interact with remote services such as bulletin board systems, BBS, and to access other systems such as Prestel and ViewData, videotex services, precursors to the British Oracle and CFAX teletext services that were provided by BBC and ITV television companies. So I'm going to end it right there and see what you guys have to say about that.
I just sent a link there. I thought I just read an article that says Eric Schmidt, CEO of Google, was the one who actually coined the term cloud computing.
Yeah, this is an arguable then. It's the old sort of who was the first person to actually use the term, and a lot of people just want to
Claim it.
claim that they were. Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as my research is concerned, it was where was that? We have specified there. And the what's his face? But yeah, it's arguable. And you've got to remember, 93 was a year before the World Wide Web became a thing.
Mm-hmm.
The web as we know it now wasn't a thing until 1994.
Well, it was available before then to the universities.
Okay. Yeah. That's why I say as we know it now.
Yeah. Because I was in university starting in '91, and we started using the Netscape browser. The really very crude Netscape navigator back then, right?
The statement that you make down there below that, I didn't read it out loud, but the one thing you also have to consider too when it comes to especially government agencies, okay, and a lot of people get a misconception about the internet. The internet wasn't something that a couple of buddies sitting in their basement came up with. It was actually given to the public by the government. You know what I mean?
I disagree with that. The World Wide Web, remember there's a difference between the internet and the World Wide Web. The internet has been around since the 60s. ARPANET and stuff. But the World Wide Web, the HTML...
rendering, hypertext viewer engine.
And that we use now. Was actually developed by CERN using UK and European or EU EC at the time taxpayers' money.
Yeah, you don't think CERN's a government organization?
It's a state. There is a difference there.
Yeah. We'll just call it a state.
A state. Remember, governments come and go.
But the state is forever.
Yeah.
But the state will always live on.
I really dislike when people use things like terms like government money. Because there's no such thing as government money. The only money that governments have are for electioneering purposes.
Yeah.
The rest of it is state money.
Well, the
taxpayers' money, public money.
Taxpayers' money, yeah.
But that's one thing I do want. I don't care if it's state money or whatever. The original internet came out by the government, so these guys had freaking like 30 years ahead of us. So trust me when I say freaking, I guarantee you.
The original internet was came out by the U.S. military and universities.
Now, the universities probably had their fingers in it all along doing the research, because the military's not smart enough to do that on their own.
And remember, technically speaking, universities are private corporations.
Yeah.
Private entities. So yeah, again, I disagree with all government sort of argument.
Well, I mean, I remember whenever they came on the TV, I was still young when they were talking about where they were going to frickin', allow a lot of newer technologies to be introduced into the public. And a lot of people, even our age, don't remember that. They don't remember when it actually came out on the news where they said that you're going to see big changes within the next 20 to 30 years. And that happened in like the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, but we're just talking about the sort of Moore's law concept.
Yeah, and
where
the internet was
a bit progressive because of demand and supply sort of points.
Yeah. Now, the internet, let me make that clear, was a lot more earlier than what I was just talking about. So that's
1966, if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
Was initial development of ARPANET.
And I mean, I could go through and read a lot more of this stuff. You had some really great stuff on here and everything. I want to hear what Tan has to say about most of the stuff that you wrote on this vlog, because
there's too much. Too much to read. I get busy.
Man.
Wait, so when did he publish this?
He published.
Not 2019. Yeah. So a lot of references at the bottom were a bit old, but
he's had a few years of experience since then. It's like he starts backing off. He's like, "Oh shit, did I really put that in there?"
Wait, is this? Did you say when did you post this, Mark?
I've got the day.
December 2019.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think it took me from like this. If I remember rightly, this was quite quick. It took me about a week and a half to.
No, I think.
Write,
I mean, we've gone through most part of it, and I agree with most of what I've heard. So, yeah.
Now it says in November of 2007, it was confirmed that Google was using algorithms to analyze users' documents stored within Google Drive services. And whilst Google claimed that the issue was a glitch, this doesn't stop Google from temporarily blocking users from accessing their documents due to claims of violating Google terms of service. So, you want to elaborate on that?
Look, did they find that some users are putting illegal documents on their drive?
Yeah. There was the sort of idea that Google LLC wasn't reviewing and use the documents that the users were uploading to Google Drive, but it was found out that Google was actually banning or removing accounts because of the contents of those documents. So some of those documents may have violated the terms of services, and Google was actually reviewing those documents and actually enacting on those reviews.
That's so. What is the problem with that? They're within their means, their rights.
I think at the time it was Google actually. I'm pretty sure that Google actually stated that they weren't reviewing.
Let's see, and he also wanted to use that as an example too to show that Microsoft and Apple had been analyzing their users' content as well as being suggested to have provided various government agencies with private user information. And that's without agencies
Yeah.
providing correct authorization and legal documents. So,
But
So
that was a shocking thing back then. But now it's like a normal practice, isn't it? That
it's the good days. We
The
got
whole-
all
Well,
this.
at least you've got terms of services saying we will amend, we can, the documents are, we own, as soon as you upload them to our services, we own those documents in effect. And we can share it with our trusted partners, quote unquote.
Oh yeah. I think I remember seeing some of those, not with Google or anything, but some other providers. They might have something.
Well, say if you think about, let's say you're a company, and you've got private, or sensitive, I don't know, let's say financial accounts or something, patents, pending patents or something, all uploaded to Google Drive, then in theory, Google could actually to take ownership and claim that those patents are theirs.
Well, see, you guys
Or
are
those
caught up
patents
into the
are theirs.
you're caught up into the good times of today and everything, but back when you were writing this, okay, you got to remember what you were talking about here, because it's right here at the end. You say throughout 2016 and 2017, there were a number of data breaches of some well-known organizations and websites and infrastructures. Affected companies included Verizon, Yahoo, Tesco Bank, Uber, and Equifax. While some of these branches were insignificant, other branches were found to have had customers and user data stolen. With the increase in cloud service, it is inevitable that there will be many new data breaches and security incidents which will affect millions of users. Cloud computing is
We see that.
Go ahead.
So we see that all the time. How many times have you heard of databases being hacked and duplicated, and security issues like customers' contact information or customers' payment information is being distributed
Exactly.
beyond the company.
It's your turn, Tan. What you got to say?
Oh, what? This is not a debate. This is not a back and forth. This is not a fight. At least I didn't think so. I mean,
And
I don't see anything that Mark wrote there to be, anything. Sure, Mark's done extensive research.
Now,
So,
what's your
the
take?
other thing you've got to think about is consumer regulations in the US. We all know that consumer regulations are extremely weak. So if, let's say, your data is being compromised and let's say your customers, they contact information is off in the dark web, being distributed illegally. You as a consumer have very little recourse, whereas in Europe, in the EU and in EEA countries, we've got much more stronger consumer legislation, so we could have those companies that have failed to maintain their security prosecuted fairly easily.
So this you're talking about users using the like a Google service or something like that, and if it gets lost, then the users is out of luck. But that was I think that was when I guess that for for users who are using the free Google services. But what about those people who paid, who use the paid services? There's got to be some accountability for,
There might be stronger contracts,
right?
but still, if you consider US consumer legislation, again, extremely weak. So the, the only recourse that most companies or most individuals would have is a breach of contract.
Yeah.
In which case, they could be sued by a class action, right? With the
Yeah,
class,
if they can be proven to be a breach of contract. So
yeah.
if the contract states that the company has to keep a certain amount of security precautions, procedures in place.
That reminds me so
Um,
much of PayPal whenever they had that breach of information and everybody's data bled out of their programs. Wasn't that PayPal?
I don't know.
When it
Again,
was
I
like,
hear about these things on
Maybe.
a sort of monthly basis.
it happened like 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay,
You got too much on your
a
mind.
few hacks
It's like
since then.
it's like
Security
Roger,
breaches.
be up to date. Okay, so I wanna move on because we got good stuff here, and I found something, and it's about writing your own virtual machine. I want to read it to you and see what you think. Okay, it's a tutorial. It says, in this tutorial, I will teach you how to write your own virtual machine (VM) that can run assembly language programs such as my friend's 2008 or 2048 on my roguelike or my roguelike. If you know how to program but would like to gain if you know how to program but would like to gain a deeper understanding what is going on inside a computer and better understand how programming languages work, then this project is for you. Write your own VM may sound a little scary, but I promise you, you will not be too surprising. No, but I promise you that you will find it to be surprisingly simple and enlightened. And then down here it comes to what is a virtual machine. A VM is a program that acts like a computer. It simulates a CPU along with a few other hardware components, allowing it to perform arithmetic, read and write to memory, and interact with I/O devices, just like a physical computer. Most importantly, it can understand a machine language which you can use to program it. The amount of computer hardware the VM attempts to simulate depends on its purpose. Some VMs are designed to reproduce the behavior of some particular computer, such as video game emulators. Most people don't have an NES laying around anymore, but we can still play NES games by simulating the NES hardware on a program. These emulators must faithfully receive every detail and major hardware component of the original device. Other VMs don't act like any real computer. No, other VMs don't act like any real computer and are entirely made up. This is primarily done to make software development easier. Imagine you wanted to create a program that ran on multiple computer architectures. A VM could offer a standard platform which provided portability for all of them instead of rewriting a program in direct dialects of assembly for each CPU architecture. You'd only need to write the small VM program in each assembly language. Each program would then be written only once in the VM's assembly language. And then it talks about porting without a VM and porting with a VM, and it goes that like that. So, what are your guys' take on that? Just on virtual machines.
Reading that
You
reminds
covered-
me.
Go ahead.
Reminds me
You
so
covered-
much about Java.
Java.
You covered two different things there. You covered virtual machines and emulation. Virtual machines are a technique where certain amount of the host computer hard resources are taken, so the hardware is taken. So generally speaking, things like I don't know, graphics cards can be taken or reused or direct access to memory or something. Whereas emulation is just a sort of layer on top of the host machine that will just emulate a separate machine. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that actually does.
But the VM is doing kind of the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah, but certain resources can be used, can be shared between both the host and the.
Yeah, it's kind of blurred as to what the separator
Yeah,
is because they have on the Android platforms, they have Android emulators that you use on Windows when you're doing development for the Android devices, right? So you can just test your application without having to run it on the real phone. You just have an Android emulator, like a Google Pixel emulator or a Nexus 9 emulator running on Windows that you can just load the application into, and it behaves pretty much the same as the real Android device, but a lot of the features, all of the features are simulated, right?
Yeah.
So then, how is that different from a VM? I'm wondering, right?
There are two different types of VM, isn't it? There's the much more emulated variant, in which
I don't know how well this would be to as an example, but like now I have a game for Black Ops, okay, Black Ops 3. That is an emulation, and not only is it an emulation, but they've taken it farther to where they've actually emulated servers to where multiple players can get on this emulation of the server and play one another, which isn't really a server, it's an emulation of the server. You know what I'm saying?
It's like a Black Ops clone.
Yeah.
Right?
If that makes sense to you. Okay.
But how is it an emulation? So can the game connect to a real Black Ops server the same way as it connects to this simulation server?
No, it's completely standalone on its
Completely
own.
different, right?
Yeah, it's
So more like a clone than an
Yeah.
emulator.
exactly. Well, I mean, when you make an emulation, isn't it basically a clone? I mean,
No, Well, for it to be an emulator, it needs to for it to be an emulator, it needs to be able to talk to the game, the clients that normally talk to the real Black Ops server, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's what it's basically emulating all the features or the functions of the real server, but only to its own client. Then I consider that a clone. If it is a server that is able to talk to the game's users all over the world on the client that are so basically interoperable. It needs to interoperate with the real server, right? So if it's emulating, it's basically if you replace it, so you have the server and you have all these game players all over the world with a client running, connecting to the server, right? If your emulator, or if your emulation of the real server is a true emulation, then I can switch the real server, put your emulator in place of it, and the other game users will be able to connect it to your emulated server without knowing any better, right? Thinking that they will be connecting to the real Black Ops server. That would be an emulation.
That would, yeah. Now see, this one it goes by BO and then III for 3. But it's BO3 basically. And if you guys want to ever check it out and you see what I'm talking about, you literally go on here, man, and you're playing a server. You know what I mean? You're actually on a server with other people and everything, and in every aspect of the part, you're on a server. You're playing with other people, but it's a simulation. You know what I'm saying? It's not an actual server that's on the internet that can be freaking monitored. It's like VirtualBox, basically.
A problem with this, I wrote about this in the Linux chat room some time ago, in March. Things like VirtualBox are technically emulators because it's a Type 2 hypervisor. So it provides which means it provides its own sort of hardware emulation. Whereas you've got things like QEMU, KVM, and XN, which are Type 1 hypervisors that provides a bridge between the guest environment and the host hardware. So, like I said, with graphics card, VirtualBox will emulate a graphics a GPU, a graphics processing unit, whereas a Type 1 hypervisor will actually can be configured to provide a bridge to the actual hardwares, to the physical hardware graphics processor unit.
Alright. So,
Wait, but back to your article. I was reading that and I was thinking that it's talking about more about having a VM that supports running your one application in many different architectures.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like you write once and it can run anywhere. Okay.
No,
So
I can pull that link up and post it on there if you want it.
So
but
what
how,
the software is a sort of
It says write your own.
architecture
mhm.
independent. So like a Java application would be.
Exactly. So Java is a programming language
Java virtual machine.
that has the virtual machine. That's right. That is like interpreting the bytecode that is intermediate. So people write Java program in source code, and they compile using the Java compiler, and it compiles into this intermediate format where it gets run on different platforms. You have the Java virtual machine on each platform that are interpreting those bytecode and translate it into the machine architecture of the machine that is being hosted on. So the programmer will just write the code once on Java with compile it once to bytecode, and it can run on a Mac, it can run on Linux, and it can run on a PC.
Before the marketing of smartphones, we used to see this with more classic mobile phones, where you had a sort of Java framework, and you could be able to run the same application on, let's say, your phone, your friend's phone, a calculator, and even I've seen Java runtimes on fridges. So in theory, you could run the same software on a fridge.
Yeah. I think Samsung refrigerators, they actually run Java. They have Java programs running inside them.
As a thing, I've seen some versions of Doom being compiled in Java. So in theory, you could run your latest game of Doom on your fridge.
Yeah. Now it says VM.
Good luck trying to control it with those tiny.
VM doesn't have to be to be large or pervasive to provide similar benefits. Old video games often use small VMs to provide simple scripting systems. VMs are also useful for executing code in a secure or isolated way. One application of this is garbage collection. There is no trivial way to implement automatic garbage collection on top of C or C++, since a program cannot see its own stack or variables. However, a VM is outside the program it is running and can observe all of the memory references on the stack. So,
do you understand what you just read?
Yeah, that's kind of like what I was talking about with the RAID systems, with the RAID 5.
It's a VM outside of the program because the program is internal of the VM. It's much like having a piece of software on a computer. The VM is acting as the computer in this case.
Yeah, it has to be separate. Yeah, it can't be a part of the actual program.
Yeah. So, but okay. So that Java is the old enterprise solution to run once, build right one runs everywhere, kind of a coding VM, right? JavaScript, right? JavaScript is the current technology where the web applications are like JavaScript are like touting write one run anywhere now. It's like it's a new Java, right? But it's nothing like Java. It's just it's only like Java in name. Yeah. So so JavaScript. A lot of people are writing web applications in JavaScript, TypeScript, and all that kind of thing, right?
They're mentioning there's no trivial way to implement automatic garbage collection on top of C or C++, since a program cannot see its own stack or variables. So,
well, the runtime engine of the whatever virtual machine this program is running on, that one has to be the one that's responsible for doing the garbage collection. They have like a memory manager kind of thing that are looking at checking out all the programs that are running, and then it will occasionally check to see if certain chunk of memory is still referenced, right? It's still not referenced anymore. So right, the program itself is it could do that, but it is more effective for something else like a manager to be managing that kind of stuff rather than each program implementing its own garbage collection.
Think of a virtual machine as being a computer in itself. And like any computer, it needs an operating system, and the operating system will have its own kernel for its own that will control memory management, will control hardware, or in this case pseudo hardware access.
Maybe it is hard for C++ to implement garbage collection because a lot of C++ program run into what's called memory leaks.
Yeah.
So it's the program eating up memory and not releasing it, and just eventually it just crippled the machine because it used up all of the available memories.
As anybody who's used Microsoft Windows and seen no.
Yeah.
Now, another example of this behavior is demonstrated by Ethereum smart contracts. Smart contracts are small programs which are executed by each validating node in the blockchain network. This requires the node operators to run programs on their machine that have been written by complete strangers without any opportunity to scrutinize them beforehand. To prevent a contract from doing malicious things, they are run outside a VM that has no access to the file system, network, disk, etc. Ethereum is also a good application for the portability features that result when using a VM, since Ethereum nodes can be run on many kinds of computers and operating systems. The use of a VM allows smart contracts to be written without any consideration of the many platforms they run on. So
Interesting.
yeah, I thought that stuck out to me while you guys were talking. I seen that. It was just below what?
Yeah. So Ethereum has their own virtual machine infrastructure.
That's
Right.
pretty cool.
And each smart contract is like a little script, isn't it?
It's pretty cool.
It's
Did not
script
know
with
that.
little script that execute on the virtual machine. But so they have to invent that kind of scripting language, right? So that the syntax of it is restrictive enough so that it will not do damage on the whatever environment it runs on. But it's like limited programming language. It's
Technically,
specialized.
would you say a blockchain is its own, loosely speaking, virtual machine, its own environment?
That would be true.
A blockchain, a block on the blockchain.
Or a blockchain, the blockchain itself, because there's different blockchains for different applications.
So you're saying it would be autonomous, basically.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That decentralization, it would make more sense because that's what everybody in cryptocurrency is always shouting about. It's like, even on Minds, everybody's talking about decentralization and freaking just shit like that.
Again, in the crypto environment, there's also centralized crypto digital assets, as we see with lots of banks and countries trying to starting to implement at the moment.
An Ethereum virtual machine is a computation engine for Ethereum that manages the state of a blockchain and enables
Okay.
smart contracts.
Okay. So I want to put in
Say.
some stuff that.
So so if you run a miner on Ethereum on your computer, right?
Not
Your miner machine is a node on the blockchain, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is why I think of blockchains as being on virtual machines.
No. Each node has a virtual machine running inside it.
Okay.
Yeah. Right.
Well, the blockchain's the thing that's connecting these virtual machines.
It's a connected network of virtual machines of EVMs,
Yeah,
Ethereum virtual machines.
It's really the sort of network infrastructure around virtual machines. Well,
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so now I want to show you guys something right here. This is my stuff that I like.
Back to RAID.
RAID 5.
Complicated, yeah.
What is RAID 5? RAID 5 is a redundant array of independent disk configurations that use disk stripping with parity. Data and parity are striped evenly across all the disks, so no single disk is a bottleneck. Striping is also enables users to reconstruct data in case of a disk failure. RAID 5 evenly balances reads and writes and is currently one of the most commonly used RAID methods. It has more usable storage than RAID 1 and RAID 10 configurations and provides performance equivalents to RAID 0. RAID 5 groups have a minimum of 3 HDDs and no maximum, because the parity data is spread across all drives.
Minimum 3 and no maximum.
Right. RAID 5 is considered one of the most secure RAID configurations. Now, how does RAID 5 work? The benefit of RAID 5 primarily comes from its own combined use of disk striping and parity. Striping is the process of storing consecutive segments of data across different storage devices. It enables better throughput and performance. Disk striping alone does not make an array fault tolerant. However, disk striping combined with parity provides RAID 5 with redundancy and reliability. RAID 5 uses parity instead of mirroring for data redundancy. When data is written to a RAID 5 drive, the system calculates parity and writes that parity into the drive, while mirroring maintains multiple copies of data in each volume to use in case of failure. RAID 5 can rebuild a failed drive using the parity data, which is not kept on a fixed single drive. What do you think about that? Yeah. What up? What up, dog? What up?
The entire subject of RAID confuses me sometimes. There's so many different levels.
So what do you guys think about RAID 5? From what I just read there, what do you think about it?
Why RAID 5? Do they have all the way to RAID 10? Yeah.
Yeah. You can go in and get a good description.
RAID 6 is the maximum. It's not.
Now, being fair, RAID 5 is probably the only one worth
It's
getting.
double distributed.
Okay.
No, there's something called RAID 10. No.
RAID 0 is pretty good too.
Oh no, it's not RAID 10. It's RAID.
No, it's RAID
RAID
6. RAID 6 is the
It's RAID 10.
next one.
What?
Okay.
It's not RAID 10. It's RAID 10. It's a combination of RAID 1 and RAID 0.
Yeah, I'm using traditional sort of
But
definitions.
what I've checked out of all of them, RAID 5 seems to be the best out of all of them. So it's
Again,
RAID.
depends on your requirements. They can be used. Each different machine can be used for different requirements. And then RAID 0 could be just used for duplicate. Oh, actually, RAID 1 could be used for just duplicating data from one drive to another drive. Whereas RAID 5 could be used for
This RAID 6.
pushing data throughout a number of different drives. So single bits on separate drives.
And see, the one thing I like about it is when they're talking about it here is like avoiding the whole mirror, you know what I mean? Forgetting about the whole mirroring and going the other route. I know I've heard it somewhere before where they were talking about that, how it's a better process, you know, instead of having to mirror and maintain multiple copies of data. It doesn't do that. And not only that, but it rebuilds a failed drive, you know what I'm saying? Because it has information on the other RAID drives.
Yeah. Again, it depends on requirements. If you just want to have a redundancy system, so let's say your main server dies because of a power outage or something, and you just want to pick up from where it's stopped on another server, then RAID 1 probably would be much more practical.
RAID 1? Yeah. Now, RAID 1, that one right there only has, what, 2 RAID drives? I believe it is.
A minimum number, so
Yeah.
in theory it can be, yeah, we're talking about minimum numbers, so in theory you could have 50 machine drives all just mirror and using RAID 1.
Yeah. I like freaking RAID 5 though, because it's just cool.
Do you have one?
That's what I've been trying to tell you, dude. I'm going to freaking build this from scratch on my own instead of going and buying one of those pretty little freaking chassis that you guys keep saying, oh, you can buy it. No, I can't.
Oh, you mean you're gonna take like
I can
three like 1980s discs and put them together and
No, I'm gonna use the RAID discs. RAID.
Okay, he's going to build himself a number of enterprise-style cabinets.
yeah, that's right.
I'm
That'll be
gonna
like IBM
I hope-
mainframe room, like from
I
19.
hope you've got enough money for the power bill.
I don't think it'd be that bad. I mean, it can't be that bad.
Again, depends on how big a server farm you want to build.
Now, we've gone through that. Now, my next one that I want you guys to look at is: have you guys ever heard of deep learning?
Mm-hmm. AI.
Okay. Now,
Machine learning, people learn.
They-
Artificial, what is locally called artificial intelligence. I really do not like the term artificial intelligence.
Deep learning
might be another
GPU.
one.
Here we go again.
Deep learning
Okay.
GPU. Okay. Making the most of GPUs for your deep learning project. Graphics processing units, GPUs, originally developed for accelerating graphic processes, can dramatically speed up computational processes for deep learning. They are an essential part of a modern artificial intelligence infrastructure, and new GPUs have been developed and optimized specifically for deep learning. Read on to understand the benefits of GPUs for deep learning projects, the difference...
Okay, I'm going to stop you there already.
Alright.
GPUs can be used for the purpose of artificial intelligence. They can act as what we used to call floating point units. In the old days of 386, 486s, you would have your main CPU, and then you would have another calculating chipset for the purpose of calculator, for mathematical usage. So floating point units. And GPUs are, in this example, is being used for exactly the same purposes. But we've also got these days things like APIs, APUs, artificial intelligent processing units, FPUs.
FPU.
Yeah, which is a or FPUs is the old term, but APUs, which is another form of processing unit for the purpose of deep learning, machine learning.
APUs are like accelerated processing.
Now see, I knew this would get his attention because like he didn't even let me finish. You know what I'm saying? They're like, hold up, let me stop you there.
This gets you on his
Just I can see where you go with this.
gets you on his best side, like the cloud computing. But
Again,
you know,
the GPU can be used as a secondary central processing unit if needed.
but
We see this in
something about floating point arithmetics there that are useful for intensive number crunching. Like the crypto miners, the crypto mining programs, they use GPUs to crunch their mining, right? Yeah.
So using the same sort of principle as a floating point unit.
Yeah. So there might be something there, but this is the first time I heard of deep learning using GPUs to do its stuff. But yeah. I think it's a thing, right? I think it could be a thing.
Yeah. It's another form of central processing unit. So any PUs, any
can be used for deep learning.
NAPUs.
For calculations,
PU.
FU too.
Oh,
PUs and FUs.
Now, do you want me to read more?
What is this about deep learning that you want to talk about?
I just want to read the article. I've already gotten a good part. I've already gotten a good part of it. I don't have to talk about nothing. I've got some good responses from it. This is good.
You just want to rile us up.
Okay, now artificial intelligent infrastructures. And we just went over infrastructures. The new GPUs have been developed and optimized specifically for deep learning. Read on to understand the benefits of GPUs for deep learning projects and the difference between consumer-grade GPUs, data center GPUs, and GPU servers. Now, GPU servers, I've heard about them, and a lot of people have told me that, I mean, you really don't need GPUs in a server, but you can, you know what I mean? But I really don't see a purpose in doing that when it comes to servers. In several ways that you can evaluate your GPU performance. This is part of the extensive series of guides about AI technology. In this article, you will learn the principles of GPU computing, benefits of using GPUs for deep learning, and GPU technology options for deep learning, then top metrics for deep learning GPU performances. And it goes on to the principles of GPU computing. Graphics.
Something else I just thought of, neural processing units as well, NPUs. I think GPUs wouldn't be all that great at this because GPUs tend to be more power hungry, not as power efficient as CPUs.
You know, see, that's what I was thinking with the freaking GPU servers. Like, it would suck so much energy out of your system. It wouldn't even be worth it, you know, just for that freaking extra bit.
Well, again, depends on your requirements. If you've got a, if you've got GPUs and you've got enough power, and you don't mind paying extremely high power bills, then yeah, go ahead.
What do you think?
Apparently, using a GPU for deep learning is like up to 3 times faster than running it on a CPU.
So
there's something there.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's cool. It's machine learning, right? So
yeah.
Deep learning thing is all about the machine crunching through a large number of samples and finding patterns out of it, right?
So do you think that would take me to the top as a freaking gamer when I do my videos and shit?
Well, yeah, you need a fast GPU if you wanna win out the other players on the internet.
Yeah,
what kind of GPUs you have now?
What kind of resolution could I put on my video games when I stream them? Like, how high?
No, it's you're not playing with you're just playing by yourself. You're not playing with the rest of the world.
Well, if I'm playing with myself or with the rest of the world, I mean, you know, like.
So if you have a faster GPU, you would have your refresh rate will be faster, and you'll have smoother transition of the graphics, and you'll be able to react faster and do stuff faster, and you will have an advantage over other people with a slower GPU, right?
Now, what if I had my gaming hooked into a deep learning machine?
It's just
what would happen there?
You'll explode. Cannot compute Stack Overflow exception.
Also, remember when you talk about screen resolutions, that is your actual physical monitor partially determines the maximum screen resolution.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the frames per second that the graphic card is able to crunch out.
No, take the video gaming out of your mind.
I've heard of an argument to say that anything above 120 frames per second is not worth it and is perceivable by the human eye.
Mm-hmm.
I used to do
120?
I used to do 12
Yeah,
frames
so-
per second on my OBS. I don't get where people say that shit either. Like, I can actually freaking set up my OBS where I can run video at 12 frames per second. And
12 frames?
Yeah. Everybody says that's, oh, you're ridiculous. I'm like, hell no, I can do it today. I can get on my OBS.
In theory, you could set up OBS to do 1 frame per second.
That'll be pretty laggy, isn't it? It's like one second Mark's head is on the top left corner, and the next second his head is on the bottom right corner.
Yeah, but you have to buffer. That's the secret. Like if you use
That
a
would be
buffer,
good for time-lapse videos.
if you use a buffer of like 400, it'll all come out all right. You'll be okay, man.
You want to watch a flower grow or something? Some paint dry someday, yeah?
All right, so we've gotten through a lot of the stuff that we've been reviewing and stuff that I think we should hold off until the next time.
You're just scratching the surface of deep learning. Maybe let's talk about that more next time.
Yeah. Now I do want to go over the SEC and library and all that. I think that's something that's pretty cool to do, but. Like you know all the stuff with library that me and Mark's been talking about, right?
What SEC?
SEC, the lawsuit.
Securities and Exchange, U.S.
Oh,
Securities Exchange Commission.
Okay.
And then the UK has been coming down on Rumble, and
Microsoft, yeah.
and well, for me personally, I mean, I've got one of those suspicious minds. I think that they're related, to be honest with you, because it seems to me like these governments, man, have it out for these freaking these alt tech platforms, man. It's just
I wrote about Library Inc. And the Securities and Exchange Commission issue about a week ago in the General's chat room. That is really just down to regulatory frameworks and library never actually pushing the crypto token through the correct regulations.
Well, you know that guy that got in trouble, what was it, LXM or whatever that token was? They found him down in the Caribbeans with that 20-room mansion and like 200 buddies living with him. I forgot the name of them. But it hit the news. It caused a big problem with cryptocurrency. They finally sentenced him. He's got freaking like 100 years lined up. Not only him, but his girlfriend and all the buddies that was involved with it. They're going to prison, and all of that happened here during this time period. And now all of a sudden you got all these government agencies just coming in. I mean, how many years has freaking library been around, and all of a sudden they take interest? You know.
No, this has been an ongoing thing since officially 2019. I think 2022, but I think it has been going on for at least 2019.
And how long has library been out? They've been out. Shit. It's only. They've been out longer than mines, haven't they?
Yeah, but only well, I mean, founded in May 2015.
2015.
So actually,
no,
it hasn't.
mine's fish.
Mine was founded in 2012.
Yeah. I went on Link too, and I think freaking Bill's freaking listening to our videos because mysteriously his bio freaking vanished off of Link. Okay, like I gotta rehook up. Let's see. Let me get on here again. And yeah, I'm back.
Disappeared.
Did he just disappear?
No, I'm back now. It
Oh,
knocked
what
me
happened,
off.
man?
But mysteriously, his
You would mysteriously disappear for a second.
I thought that was weird too. That might be Bill fucking with us.
Yeah.
Every time I mention his name, something fucked up happens.
Some like network accident happened.
Now, he took his bio off, okay, where I was talking about. I actually reddit it, and he came up with the idea with his college buddies back when he was in college, and that's how they started it. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I know that this was he was still in university, and Mark Harden was also in university in the UK, and they were communicating with each other. And yeah, the project started in sometime in 2012.
And see, his brother needs to have his ass on there, freaking do an interview with Bill, because, being honest, that should have been the first person he had on there.
Jack actually joined the company himself a bit later, actually. I'm not sure. I think 2014, 2015. He was as far as I am aware, he was a business-to-business sales rep for IBM. Fire to mind.
Yeah. But I still say he should have had Bill on there first, because that only makes sense, because then he could go through and freaking talk about how he came up with the ideas for Minds and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure he probably is tired of saying it, but still, you know, it's supposed to be Minds Live. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and he did, by the way, he took that freaking story down off of freaking LinkedIn, Linktree or LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, right? LinkedIn.
Yeah, LinkedIn.
No, he was forced to edit his Wikipedia page because Wikipedia took the view that his previous record entry was too much advertising rather than actually talking about himself.
Oh.
It was too much of a marketing page rather than a descriptive page.
So he was advertising Minds more than he was talking about himself on it.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know, man. I think the only reason why Jack's doing Minds Live is because, like, Bill has a freaking he's self-conscious about himself, and he knows that Jack's a pretty boy, so he lets Jack do it for him, you know, because he knows freaking that if he gets up there, he's gonna have a lot of people wanting to go on there and talk to him. So.
So Jack is actually quite a good marketeer.
Yeah.
Before Barshi and Ryan started the company, Jack was actually creating the majority of the official blog articles.
Really? Well, I know, like, a lot of the shows he's done 3 now? 3 or 4? I'll give him 2 out of the 3 he's posted has been pretty good so far. You know, I haven't been able to see the first one. That's the only reason I'm saying
I've been fairly critical about some of, especially most recent live festival, because in my view there was too much emphasis on American regulation and American creators and American concepts of free speech, and obviously mine is being promoted to an international audience.
Yeah. See, that's the one I haven't seen yet. So I seen the one with the writer, and then I seen one with the oh, hold on, let me think. There was a writer on one of them, and then before that there was it was do good.
Right, do good. Yes.
Yeah, which is the
the guy that was streaming from Korea, that was Jeffrey Ryder.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Sorry, I thought you were talking about the festival. Yeah, you're talking about the
live stream.
recent. Mine's live.
Oh, he got caught up for something.
With Game Test Play. Is that the same guy?
Yeah, I only saw that interview earlier on today.
I don't know if Game Test Play is the same guy.
He's also from Korea.
It could be him.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
China.
if he's willing to come on and humiliate himself like that, that's all up to him. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I'd be embarrassed if I was on this show, dude. Seriously.
What are you talking about? You were going to be on there, right?
I mean, that's kind of that was supposed to be funny. Thanks. But yeah.
But so far, Jack hasn't gotten back to you. So
he hasn't sent me a freaking email or nothing, and I told you already, the dude don't like me, man. I can see it. I can see it in his eyes when he talks. He's like,
you only mentioned this a couple of days ago.
Yeah, I know.
it was last Friday. We did it last Friday.
Yeah, it was last Friday. I'm glad that you took off when you did. By the way.
Oh right, Mark wasn't there, right?
Yeah, he was there in the beginning. He had to go. He got hungry. He decided
Right. And then we were all making fun of you, Mark, when you were away. That's just rotten bastards that we are. Talking behind people's back.
He left because he was hungry, and then Do-Gooder came in and had to leave for the same exact thing, dude. And
Yeah.
You guys were hungry for fish. You know,
We got ruined by Karma.
Karma goes, now he understands what fish are, doesn't he? I mean, he know. And I was like, I don't know. So we basically covered that, all that stuff that we were going through. So if you guys want to, we can start off with the other stuff later on, and we can go back to what we were discussing on deep learning and stuff, because I like that too.
Let's do it next time.
Okay. That was the stuff that I was talking about, though. It didn't have to do with like the infrastructure. Like if you remember, whenever I said I wanted to discuss the stuff we were talking about, RAID and all this other stuff.
Yeah. But like deep learning is a big topic. Let's talk about deep learning for the whole show next week. Machine learning, how's it used? Chat GPT, those kind of all the stuff that are out there now relating to deep learning.
We can do that. I mean, if you're serious about it, we could do
Yeah.
it. Yeah. All right, we can do that. That'd be a good call.
Mm-hmm.
Did Mark run off on us?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No. What do you think about that?
I don't mind talking about the principles of deep learning and the various products, but as far as the products themselves are concerned, I've got very little interest because again, products come and go. ChatGTP will be eventually taken over by another product. ChatGTP is only popular at the moment because it's got the sort of average person's imagination.
Now,
Apparently, high school and university kids are using it to do their homework.
But again, there are various other products like that.
okay. Now, before we end this, I do have a freaking question. I just want to know yes or no. Okay. And you both need to answer this because it's very important.
Oh, is it the survey question?
Yes.
Good God.
Does
Okay.
quantum computers exist? Yes or no?
Yes and no.
Yes, yeah, because quantum. Yes and no, I agree.
Okay. So let's go ahead and let you guys go so you can go to sleep and you guys can
I'm
enjoy.
not gonna go have some dinner.
It's like 11 or 12 o'clock at night for him now.
Yeah,
He's
No,
like,
it's gone 1 a.m.
way more.
1
Way more
a.m.
than that. Yeah, it's 8 p.m. for me, so it's 1 a.m.
Poor guy.
It's more.
I appreciate you guys being here, and this is like one of the more civilized videos that we've ever done. So
Yeah. So it's like Karma just bailed on us. You guys are too boring.
she just can't handle us.
Yeah.
Too hardcore.
Yeah, too boring. Not enough fish. Too much technologies and not enough fish.
So I will see you guys later if you want.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
want to say something real quick before we end this?
No.
Okay. Thanks for being here, and I'll talk to you guys later.
Thanks. Bye, Sky.
Bye bye. That was good.